Want to wish you a good morning and let you know that we will begin in about 3 minutes or so. We give some time for colleagues and students and our friends and visitors from other parts of the world to join us in the room. I know people are coming from classes and different events, so we will begin at about 11:03, 11:04. Thank you. Okay, good morning again, colleagues and friends, students. I see among us we have colleagues from Trinidad. Welcome, Dr. Taylor. I see colleagues from other departments in the FST, and I see some of our students. I know some more people are coming to join us. So we will begin. I want to wish for all of you a happy new year. This is our first seminar for 2021. Welcome again to the Thursday seminar series in the Department of Chemistry here in the FST. We are the Faculty of Science and Technology, and this morning we are meeting and talking with the Ministry of Science, Energy, and Technology. And FST and MSET are good friends. FST and MSET are partners, in fact. There is no other way for science to begin to impact the lives of Jamaicans and people all over the world unless the scientists and the policymakers work together. So this is a partnership we've had for a long time, but we're getting closer. We're getting very much closer, particularly now because the role of the scientist and science in society has been elevated with the COVID-19 pandemic. Everybody now knows that it is we knew it before, we've known it all along, that the scientist and science has the solutions to the problems of the world. But now everybody knows, and the world is waiting on us. And so whether it is chemistry, with providing the chemicals to protect us against the virus, or it's the biochemists and the biotechnologists and the life scientists who are studying the virus and engineering solutions at the genetic level, the physicists and the mathematicians who are modeling to find solutions so we can understand and predict outcomes, the geologists and the geographers who are monitoring the environment and the impact of the pandemic on the environment, the IT people, the computer science people. You know, computer science and technology is now pretty much our lifeline. This is how we survive. So whichever area of science you are in, students and researchers, we know now, if we didn't know before, the importance of science in finding solutions and making people's lives better. So this morning, it is my privilege to introduce to you someone who possibly needs no introduction at all, Dr. Chanel Delahaye Mackenzie, who is really one of us and has been talking the talk, walking the walk, and fighting the fight with all of us here in Jamaica as we try to build, and I say build and not even strengthen, because some of us argue there is no culture of science in these parts of the world, and that's why we remain a developing country. But let me introduce to you Dr. Chanel Delahaye Mackenzie in a formal way. Yes, Dr. Delahaye Mackenzie grew up in St. Catherine. She's a proud past student of the prestigious Holy Childhood High School in Kingston. And of course, she is a graduate of the University of the West Indies right here at Mona. She majored in experimental biology. That's her BSc is in experimental biology. She has an MPhil in biotechnology, and her PhD is also in biotechnology. Chanel worked briefly in the field of banking at JMMB before she started graduate studies at UWI. She is an entrepreneur. This woman in science embodies all that a scientist do. As a researcher, a lecturer, an entrepreneur, a mentor. Chanel is lecturing at UTech, in fact, in the pharmaceutical biotechnology program at UTech. And she is the science program manager at the Ministry of Science, Energy, and Technology. She enjoys being a scientist. She's a painter, a visual artist, and as I said before, she's a mentor. She's a people person, immersing herself in volunteerism and outreach in different parts of the world, and certainly a lot of that going on with her in Jamaica. She is the founder of a science-based business, Dela Essentials Limited, and her company has been rewarded on numerous occasions for their outstanding achievements. In fact, she was placed third in 2012 and second in 2014 in the SRC's, well, she was third and second as the SRC's Young Scientist of the Year right here in Jamaica. She's also a recipient of an award from the Climate Change Innovation Center for her innovative green technology business. She's the winner of the US Embassy's Academy of Women Entrepreneur Award and the recipient of the Development Bank of Jamaica and Mentorship in Innovation and Entrepreneurship Program. In fact, that was a cash award, Dr. Delahaye Mackenzie. I won't tell the audience how many millions that one was. She's happily married and she's a mother, like most of us women in science, of two beautiful children. She lives by the philosophy, knowing is not enough, we must apply. Willing is not enough, we must do. Ladies and gentlemen, she is talking to us this morning about closing the gaps. Science Moonshot Jamaica. Over to you, Dr. Delahaye Mackenzie.
Good morning, all. Hi, good morning, all. Again, I'm Dr. Chanel Delahaye Mackenzie. I'm the Science Program Manager here at the Ministry of Science, Energy, and Technology, and I am in the Science Division. So before we go any further, I'm just going to do a brief introduction of what the science portfolio looks like. I'm going to go through the program and objective of the ministry, the national goal and outcome. I'm going to go through the definition of what a moonshot is, and then we delve into it. So this is a diagram or a flow chart showing how the government of Jamaica is set up. And I just wanted to remind my audience about the setup, because sometimes as scientists we forget. And at the bottom of the diagram, you would see ministries, departments, and statutory bodies. So that's where my ministry falls, at the very bottom of this diagram. Very important that you take notes. And in my ministry, as you can see on the diagram, I'm from MSET, the Ministry of Science, Energy, and Technology. And in the science portfolio lies SRC, which is Scientific Research Council, iSense, International Center for Nuclear Science, and NCST, which is the National Commission on Science and Technology, that provides secretarial services for the Ministry of Science. However, they report directly to the Office of the Prime Minister. So the science portfolio is governed by the program 129, which is the Science, Technology, and Innovation Development. And the objective is for the integration of STNI national development to foster the application of STNI knowledge, increase investment in research and development. The program is created for an effective policy and legislative framework to support and advance science, technology, and innovation. And a key element to the promulgation of the science policy is to facilitate the development of science, technology, and innovation. And the government of Jamaica policy priorities are for the reposition of the STNI sector, advance steps towards developed country status by 2030. And we hope to achieve this by creating a knowledge-based economy to drive economic growth, wealth creation, well-being of the society. In our national goal, or outcome number 9, it gives guidelines as to we want Jamaica's economy to be prosperous, to use science and innovation to achieve this and to drive national development. So when I started to work at the ministry in the midst of COVID, so we had a science division, but no scientists. So I was appointed to the government portfolio in the science division in May of 2020. This is the midst of COVID. So when I did my background research, as a researcher, you have to find out what exists before you can even do anything. So I wanted to know where Jamaica lies, where science and technology and innovation is. So in 2018, when I looked at the global competitive index, in 2018, Jamaica was ranked 79th out of 140 countries. In 2019, we were ranked 80th, and this is the pillar under innovation capabilities. And here's the diagram that exists in the global competitive index. And for 2019. So, which is one of the reasons why when planning what we can do in the science portfolio, we came up with the idea of having a moonshot approach. So you have to give credit where credit is due. So recently in late November, early December, we were appointed as science chairman. He's the chairman of SRC and iSense. His name is Dr. Paris Luai. And since I've had this chairman, he has made my job so much easier. He's easier to pitch ideas to. And guys, remember, I am the only person in the science division at the ministry. So it was a bit difficult when I have no scientists to pitch ideas to, which is why I form a partnership with UWI, UTech, and any other scientists I could relate to for them to help me to plan the division. Because when you're in any job, the job cannot be done by you alone. You have one opinion, and the opinion of others matter enormously. So once I had Dr. Paris Luai on board, we came up with this moonshot approach. And what is a moonshot approach? So the moonshot philosophy derives from President Kennedy, who gave a remarks about the ambitious attempt to put a man on the moon. And his words, I quote, this nation should commit itself to achieving the goal before the decade is out of landing a man on the moon and returning him safely to her Earth. So how this applies to science, you may ask. So this moonshot approach we took to science. We want science, we wanted to make it effective and have a creative content. How can we make science appealing to students and people searching for a profession? We want to create a project or a proposal that addresses the main issues or the huge problem that exists in science. We are very ambitious. We want to be exploratory and groundbreaking projects to undertake without the expectation of any near-term benefit or profitability. So we basically want to create a program that will help our students advance in science careers. We are tired of losing our scientists to the banking arena. As you heard Dr. Singh, my first job out of an undergrad degree was at JMB. If I wasn't strong enough, I would have still been in JMB, but my heart wasn't there. Even though the treatment was excellent working with JMB, but my heart was with science. So this is a diagram illustrating the science moonshot. And in the diagram, you can see the circles, they represent education. Our students moving from the infant level is not there, but we will focus on the infant, primary, secondary, and tertiary institution in not only promoting science, but popularizing it and encouraging our students to enter the field of science. But what next? After the students have learned all these science things, excited about it, are we really fooling them? Or can we take them to the next level and keep them there? So from this diagram, you can see that most students will leave and go into a traditional pathway in which they will get a normal, sometimes a mediocre job that's not fulfilling, but they need the money to get by. But can we create a hub that will give the students a chance to thrive in the science field so that job seekers will see them and what their skills are, employment officers, job postings. We can actually create a hub, and the hub is like LinkedIn, right? Even if they enter the job market, can we take them back into a science career that will earn them sufficient money to stay? Does this exist in Jamaica? Or can we make them innovators? Every single class at UWI, UTech, all the tertiary institutions, can we make them learn a course that they can actually make something innovative from it? Are our lecturers really inspiring our students to continue in the science path? These are some of the questions we ask ourselves in order to come up with a plan that will work for our students. And our approaches, and we've been at the approach for a while now. So the entities I've mentioned that are in the science portfolio, SRC, iSense, and NCST, they've all been working over the years to popularize science in school. There's program exists for the infant level, primary, secondary, and in some cases, the tertiary level. We need, as you can see my picture on the screen, we need to get them involved, all our students involved, and it doesn't take these entities alone to do it. Everybody listening in right now, we can all make an impact. If you're a scientist, have you reached out to somebody, telling them a story about a science, doing an experiment with them, collecting data, just exploring the world with them? Have you done it? These are some of the questions we need to ask ourselves. You can play a part in making Jamaica better in the science field. So for the hub, Jamaica's professional network, can we create one? Does one exist? right? And this hub will serve as a portal for students to upload resumes, employers to find specialists, employers can do background checks and get referrals, mainly for the science industry in Jamaica. Can we have a hub? So the Ministry of Science, Energy and Technology, we are planning our way to create this hub to upskill and uplift our profession, our professional scientists. So in innovation, how can we encourage entrepreneurship in our students? When I attended UWI undergrad, and I tell this story all the time, I was in life sci and I did a course called Economic and Medicinal Botany. And after doing that course, I was so inspired. I was amazed that plants can actually make product. I remember doing the ackee and knowing that the ackee had saponins in there that you could just use and wash your hands most naturally, right? So from I did this course, it encouraged me to continue doing research, which is why I have a PhD right now. And it also encouraged me to start a business. My lecturer at the time was Mr. Boyd, no Dr. Boyd, and he looked so happy doing his work every day that it inspired me to do or want to do the same. How much of us lecturers are inspiring our students like that? Can we show the students a path to be an innovative? Can we create that little space in our course outline that will create an innovative idea that if we get one student from every course going on to doing something innovative every year, can you imagine how much science-based companies we'll have in Jamaica? So in innovation, science innovation, we want to create these innovative ideas and companies and so that we can create or facilitate angel investing. This year, the first angels in Jamaica, they had a course which about 26 different businesses that exist in Jamaica. They basically did a call and they selected the top 26 businesses in Jamaica. Only one scientist was amongst the group, and this scientist went on to the finals for pitching for angel investment. And that finalist was your truly. Can't we create more scientists to even reach this level where we can say, yes, she used what we taught her or him to further himself and earn for himself as well as other people in Jamaica? Can we create opportunities for students to share their ideas so that they can pitch for grant funding? Activate science awards. So we do have science awards that are usually given every November by SRC and NCSD. We have bigger science awards and recognition platform, but we can make this bigger. So the science division at the ministry is working with all our agencies. We've even approached and started to work with entities outside of the science sector because we want Jamaica to recognize our scientists. I remember one time I was coming from the airport and I reached a billboard near to the airport and I saw Professor Marcia Roy on the billboard when she got her Marie Curie award. I was super proud of this, but I haven't seen another scientist on a billboard. Recently, Dr. Lawrence Williams, I heard I saw in the media that his patent was being bought. I don't think he accepted it, but he's been offered $11 billion for a patent. We need this for all our patent. Every year you will put out a patent, but how much of it is being commercialized? We need to boost our awareness and prestige. We need to be innovative. We need to create robots like these, find solutions for COVID-19. We just need innovation. And this ministry is committed to working with you to come up with these innovative ideas. Without innovation, we cannot advance. Just recently, we had a meeting with some South African partners and just putting out there the different research that we're going on with COVID-19. We actually sought some sort of partnership with the South Africans who already have their funding available, and they wanted one research group in particular to come on board and work with them. And I'm here to see it through. So we're working on it. For our workforce, we don't want to trick our students after we popularize science to them and tell them how good it is and all the experiments and all the, and remember guys, science is not only chemistry, biochemistry, and life science. Sciences have data scientists, we have computer scientists, we have geoinformatics, we have, science is wide, it's broad, and we want to be inclusive, we want to include them all. So for our workforce, we're tired of losing our scientists to the different field. And we are working towards getting the science field bigger and better in Jamaica. So we're finding ways of how to work with the private sector companies to have them work with our scientists so we can grow their business. And with the innovative new businesses, we are sorting ways of growing their business as well, so their businesses can employ others. We're creating partnership with businesses to provide internship opportunities for students. And guys, I know we haven't been doing this on a wide scale, but this is something we can look back at and see how we can make this internship program even bigger. Because at UTech, internship is almost mandatory for the students, especially in the sciences. And most of the times, those students leave or graduate and walk directly into those jobs that they were serving as intern. So it's a huge opportunity, and we do want to expand on it. Graduates at secondary and tertiary level, and even teachers. How much of us lecturers have gone to do volunteerism in an industry that they teach about every day? I remember one lecturer used to tell me, and he used to laugh about it. This is Dr. Dwight Robinson. He usually say, when he goes out to make speeches, the industry worker will look at him and laugh and say he's an intellectual dunce. Pardon my language. But this means that you know the book story, but have you been in the field to learn the realities of it? So for my small business that I'm the founder of, when creating essential oils, you will see essential oils on the market, and they are, sometimes they're cheap, and that's because the quality is inferior or it's diluted. And you would see some that is expensive. Me learning about it and reading about it, it tells me that, oh, when I extract lemongrass, I'll get 3 to 5% yield at the end. But in actuality, when you extract the plant, this sometimes you get 0%. And it's all based on when you reap the plant. Jamaica have a myth that you can't reap a medicinal plant after 6. And there is some truth to it. Some scientists would say some of these are just myths. But when you're in the field and you're actually doing it, there is some amount of, it doesn't apply to every plant, but there's some amount of truth to that story, right? So for the workforce, we want to create mentorship and training program for our young adults, teachers, students, and anybody that wants to get involved. Once you're in the field of science, you always need to be learning more every day. So there are currently numerous ongoing initiatives, but after exploring and going through our moonshot idea, one of the things we recognize is it's not being promoted as much. So when you hear about jazz festival, The whole Jamaica know, even the little child on the mother's breast know about Jazz Festival. But next week, Thursday, is in the International Day of Women in Science. How much of us know that? So that's one of the main things we want to get out there. SRC have numerous programs, a lot of programs, and they are promoted, but not as much as they should be. Because yesterday I had a meeting with SRC and they were talking about all the different programs that happen during the year. And I am not aware of some of them. So this is a problem I know we're having. We need to make science as big as we make Jazz Festival. We need to encourage our youths to stay in science. And if we have our adults and teachers, we need to inspire them so when they're delivering a science subject, they understand what they're doing and they do it with such resilience and happiness that it rubs off on the student and they become happy about doing science. Because some of our science students are very depressed. And if you're in this room and you're a third year ready to graduate, a lot of them, and I know this because I lecture third year students as well, a lot of them are depressed. They don't know what they're going to do at the end of the degree. They don't know where to turn. But what if we were encouraging them or involving them in programs that will make them innovators? They will have their own business before they even leave university. So that thought of, oh my God, I don't know what I'm going to do with my life, it wouldn't be in their mind. And to share a little story, when I was doing my master's, PhD, my husband have a friend. He's a businessman, and he would always just say, "So Shani, what are you going to do when you finish?" And I would say to him, say, "Oh, I may go lecture." And he was like, "What are you gonna do when you finish? So all that years you spent studying this and that, you're just gonna bank it on a shelf. What are you going to do?" So every time I would just think, really, what are you gonna do, Shani? And because of how I watched him and also my husband just do business, I'm like, and trust me, guys, I tried other businesses. I did, but none of them felt like home. None of them felt satisfactory. So some of the businesses I tried, one time I tried to set up an internet cafe in my community where I'm from, which is Spring Village in St. Catherine. That never worked. And this was when I was in final year of undergrad. And then my husband runs a full service garage, so I tried to complement his business by doing accessories for the car, girly stuff for the car, and that never worked either because that was not an everyday buying thing. But I needed the experience and what Dr. Robinson said about being intellectually, but at the same time, you're really not aware of the real world. That usually pound on my brain, and I'm like, I want to know to run a business. So I started at my husband's full service garage. I would have a snack shop. But if you've ever been in the shop business, that really don't make any money. Just make enough money to keep you afloat. Unless you go wholesale or bigger. But it was just a snack shop. But when I started to do my oils, it even though the task of producing those oil was so much, it just felt like me. It felt effortlessly. I would stay up all night doing it, but at the end of the day, that was what made me feel good about what I'm doing. So if I'm selling you one of my oils and you tell me that, oh, I think your price is too expensive, I don't feel no way because I know I put my all into this bottle, and anybody who buys this bottle must feel blessed that they have this bottle of oil because I put my all in it and I know it's superior quality. So I know there are innovators in this room that you have an idea, you are so afraid or you think, oh, business. I started with zero zit. I just used what I had. I saved my earnings. While I was in my PhD, I did research project over TMRI at the time, which is Tropical Medicine Research Institute, where I did part-time research work. And every earning I earned from that, I would save with the idea in my mind that I'm going to start my business, and I'm doing it a little at a time. And I had lecturers that were very encouraging. So I had Dr. Dwight Robinson, I had I had Dr. Yee, and they would make little comments, but those were encouraging comments. So why I'm saying all of this? Because when I did my PhD, I didn't know what would happen next. But because I had this little business on the side, I was comforted that it is going to grow, and it's still growing. And that was the business who led me to this appointment in the ministry, and which is the reason why I'm even doing this talk, because I think God has put me in this position to help other students and lecturers as well to become inspired in their field, because this is the only way that Jamaica will grow. So how can you help? You can help us to help you. You need to become an innovator in whatever sphere in science you are. You need to become a mentor. You can mentor even your peer. You can mentor any child that is interested in the science field. The ministry, want you to stay in science. We want teachers, lecturers to become more practical. We want you to get inspired and inspire your students. We want students to be the change. We want them to get involved and be innovative. So where are we now? So since I've been at the Ministry of Science, Energy and Technology, we have finalized a document, the Science, Technology and Innovation Policy, which will be completed later this month. And when I say completed, I mean it will be tabled in Parliament by the end of this month. We've also started the process, or we've initiated the process of doing a mapping of the national science, technology, and innovation landscape, which should commence very shortly. And this will be supported by the Planning Institute of Jamaica. And this mapping exercise is very important because in order for us to move forward, we need to know what exists. We need to inform the public of every single aspect of science in Jamaica, both in the public and the private sphere. We need to identify any funding opportunities that are locally and internationally, and a way to do this is to do a mapping exercise of the STNI landscape. We're doing this with the support of UNESCO, and this will take off very soon. The data will be published, and we can all use it to advance ourselves in science. We're also doing a national implementation plan, which is expected to commence by the third quarter. And the third quarter for the ministry is from October to December 2021 to 2022, which is the third quarter of the next financial year. So in conclusion, I want to just ask you, let's improve our science industry. How can you help? We must work together, which is why Dr. Singleman can call on me anytime, and my only answer will be yes. We must share our ideas. We must advance in science. These are my references, and I just want to say to us all, the secret of success is to learn from others, improve on their ideas, and create your own. Thank you. Any questions?
Okay, thank you, Dr. Dela. Hey, Mackenzie, you want to stop, or you can keep your screen up. That's fine. Thank you so much for your talk. Listen to me. You have said a number of things, and I have a number of things I would like to take you on some of the things you have said. And I'm sure the audience would also like to take you on some of the things. You've asked a lot of questions of us, You asked, are we exciting young people? Can't we inspire the young people? Are we creating scientists to be entrepreneurs? What are we doing for International Women's and Girls in Science Day? And I have all those answers for you. I can tell you that this faculty and this university does put a lot into exciting young people, not just in our faculty and our university, but all over Jamaica and all over the world. Just came out of an external engagement committee meeting this morning, Science Road Show. We just came out of CAPE workshops. We're doing a lot of this. So the answer to that question is yes. We are inspiring, motivating, exciting. International Day for Women's and Girls in Science. We have one event on Tuesday, February 9th. I think I sent that one to you at 7 a.m. We are bringing Caribbean women in science together, connecting Caribbean women in science. So we have Professor Roy, we have Dr. Alison Gajada from St. Lucia, who is in policy and business. We have Samantha Josephs, lecturer and HOD at the University of Guyana. She's in academics. We have Janice Badenoch, who is senior lecturer at Cave Hill, who is in research. So, and then on the 11th, next week, Thursday, which is the day, the International Day for Women's and Girls in Science, right here in this seminar, we are hosting and celebrating Dr. Jacqueline Bisesa McKenzie, CMO for Jamaica, who's been leading the fight against COVID-19. She is a scientist first. She has a BSc from here, and the United Nations rep will be here. So we are doing, I needed to answer those questions. What are you doing, you say, in all of these things? And we are doing a lot. The FSD is doing a lot. There's a lot more I could tell you. I want to take you on and so much more, Shanil. I want to hear about, because what I did not hear is what exactly the ministry is doing. You didn't tell us, you asked us what we're doing for those things, but you didn't tell us what the ministry is doing. You didn't tell us about the policy framework that the ministry is moving forward on. You didn't tell us about the importance of research in all of this and how the ministry sees research. I don't want you to answer my questions now. I'm going to open the floor for the audience to speak with you because this is an important conversation. I do not know if there are other representatives from MSET here with you because I know the invitation was open to everyone and they nominated you as their rep, but I think maybe some others have joined. So I'm going to open the floor. Shanil, you can come back in. Audience, you can come in. This is our time to speak through Dr. Dela McKenzie to the minister himself so that we can move this forward. I don't see any hands up as yet, Shanil. So some of the things that I have commented on, I wouldn't mind if you would come in and tell me some things about you know, the specific things that you're doing, the policy framework and the and what you're doing and how you feel and how the ministry feels about the importance of research.
Yeah. Well, Mavadine, before you, Mavadine.
Yes, Prof. Kawa, please
Yes,
go right ahead.
Yes, I was going to add to your comments so that she can respond to my comment as well. First of all, let me thank you and the ministry for establishing that science desk and appointing somebody to it. I think that is a good move. It shows that the government is beginning to take science a bit more seriously, and we needed to applaud, you know, that move. So what I wanted to ask though is that I'm happy the policy is going to Parliament finally. I hope this will be the final trip before it is actually you know, enacted, because as you know we have been at this for a long time, and it will be a huge celebration well once that is passed. But my question to you is, has the ministry begun putting together an implementation plan for the policy, identify some budgets and you know, contact some institutions that are going to be going to be involved, and you know, this sort of preparative work that is absolutely essential for a policy not to remain, you know, words on paper, but actually, you know, a living instrument that we can all count on to advance this very important area of science.
Thank you for that question, Prof. So we have been putting an implementation plan together. However, we just selected our commission of science, which will govern the implementation plan. So we are yet to have a commission, a sitting commission for the implementation process to flow smoothly. So we are working on it, but it's not yet finished. But Prof, because we have a science division now, no, the policy will not be booked on a shelf anymore. We have been working on it continuously. So you will see the end result in very short order.
Wonderful. You can raise your hand, guys, or you can just open your microphones and come in. Prof. Kao, would you like to redirect? Okay. All right, Prof. Kawa, you hold on there. I've got two hands here. I've got Marcel and I've got Dr. Coy. I'm going to go with Marcel first. Marcel, please go ahead.
Good morning. Thank you for your presentation. I just have a quick question. And a comment. I noticed you spoke about the importance of science. How many scholarships are there currently available for scientists that is being offered from the government right now? Because when I speak to students about coming into science, they say that, but there are not many scholarships available for us. So I'm just curious, have there been an increase recently? Are they being offering more scholarships to prompt more students to come into science? Because they want to study, but the parents saying, why are you doing it? There are not many scholarships available. So what is it? Is the government doing anything about that? Or has there been anything that has been done so far?
So we have a few scholarships, and I agree with you. There is room for a whole lot more, and it can be a situation where students don't want to come into science because of the lack of opportunity to get scholarships, but we are working on it. We have a National Foundation for Science and Technology that provides scholarships every year, usually during November period. However, because of COVID-19, these scholarship opportunities were canceled. But we are working on it, and I promise you by the end of 2021, we will have more scholarships in science.
I'm gonna hold you to that promise, Dr. Dela Mackenzie.
Yes.
Dr. Coy, please go ahead.
We're working on it.
Thank you, Chair. Morning, Chanel.
Morning.
I want to applaud you and the team for the work that you're doing. It's very timely. And I know that with the efforts that you and the team will put in, then we can move science further forward. I wanted to ask if there was a forum for us at the UE and other stakeholders in science to have a direct input on the ideas and the plans that are coming through your office. It would be useful to have such an entity so that we could work on things together. And of course, when we have this kind of collaborative effort, then we will have better products coming out at the end.
Thank you, Dr. Coy. So Dr. Coy, we have a commission on science and technology, and from you, the representative is Professor Taylor. So this is this is a commission that involves all the different stakeholders from all over Jamaica, both private and public sectors, that will we will hear your voice in government and try to make a change. And the NCST is the one that carries out the activities or whatever decision the commission makes. However, because there is no science desk in the ministry, I am open. Just yesterday, we had a meeting where I invited people from other entities to our meeting. We have a weekly meeting with the chairman to just come up with ideas to see how we can get this moonshot out there. So I'm welcome to inviting you or any other lecturer that have an idea or want to just get involved to make things go forward. So Dr. Coy, I'll be inviting you to that meeting so that we can make headway very soon.
And Dr. Dela, hey, Mackenzie, we want you to come here every week at 11 o'clock. I always send invitations to you. Come here so we can pull some of the ideas out of these discussions. Dr. Mitchell, please go ahead.
Well, I have to talk. Dr. Delahaye, I'm so happy that you are where you are. You know, I have taken care of you for so many years, and it's very good to see where you are now. And I had a couple of thoughts in terms of the internship. What you can think about for you is the undergrad projects. There are students that are within FMS and FSC that can do an undergrad project, which is a semester long. You know, you started out with one, and you know how important it is. But most of the time, we don't have the question, or we don't have the problem. We don't have a little support for a few chemicals. That if we could, through your hub initiative, which is a very good one, we could connect these students to a problem. And usually the person who has a problem has a little resources and doesn't want a long MPhil or PhD that's going to take 3 to 5 years. So a semester long problem that the students could do, I think would the companies that are out there would be good as a immediate intern opportunity. And whenever people have intern possibilities, again, the hub could be a place where you could connect these different groups. For the entrepreneurship, we have been trying at the Biotechnology Center with the business sector and the business part of UN. We're still pushing it to have a 3-credit core undergrad course that would encourage the science students to do a little business, because I don't think the science students are really coming out knowing how to do a business plan, or even knowing where to register a business, or looking at the form. Like I said, it's things that are very down to earth, and sometimes we miss over them, which comes to my next point. While you fight for the moonshot, the big one, the big change, look at the little ones as well. And one opportunity that came up that has been very good is where a development project allocates a portion of their development money for research. I remember when greenhouses came, when there was the hurricane, and greenhouses were given to farmers. One greenhouse could have been given to a research institute. And therefore, while you deal with the immediate problem, you also give support for the future problems. And what is that project with OAS, with the bamboo, while we deal with the training on the ground for the project, we were able to, that little part that was set aside for the scientists to think some foresighting and do experiments. The other thing is to get people to understand that science is not necessarily a long-term thing. It is also data collection. You need a scientist to collect data in a field. I have so many things to say, but let me say one more thing. This mapping of the national STI landscape, get PIOJ help, but get as many people to help you with what that map will look like. Throw your fishing nets, as it were, wide. Getting like these groups, and I do agree, a monthly Zoom opportunity for the scientists to talk with you on different topics, so that you can, this is a perfect opportunity through COVID, where you could have different topics and you invite all the scientists to talk with you. We're not so good at talking to each other. We're good at doing our own little things, but we need ideas. So if you can open that opportunity as well, I think that's about it. I'm sure there's more I want to say, but well done, congrats, and we're all behind you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Dr.
Dr.
Mitchell.
Mitchell.
Chanel, are you going to respond to Dr. Mitchell?
Dr. Mitchell, I support your ideas, and I know I can call on you whenever we need your help. So thank you so much for that.
Right, and I support that too, because like I was saying, the research is needed for us to go to the moon. We're gonna have to invest in the fundamental science to make the devices and support the science to take us to the moon. I really have to take Victoria. Victoria Parag is one of our undergraduate students. Victoria, go ahead, please.
Hi, good morning, everyone, and thank you so much, Dr. Dela Mackenzie, for your presentation. I am an undergraduate student. I'm in second year, and I'm actually double majoring in chemistry and management. And one of the things I can definitely say for sure, Dr. Wilma Singh is one of my lecturers, and she's very inspiring. All of her students will tell you that. My question, though, one of the things you mentioned were internships. And that interests me very much because, like you, I've actually also worked at JMB for summer internships previously, which is also up my alley since I'm double majoring and I'm very passionate about business too. But I'd love to get some experience in the science field and, you know, grow my resume and just my knowledge base overall in terms of hands-on experience. So being that internships were one of the points that you spoke of, I'd love to ask, how would you suggest going about this? Like, where exactly could we apply and get the experience that we need to be better scientists and come out of our undergraduate degree with the experience that we need to work in the industry?
Thank you for that, Victoria. So as we know, the science field in Jamaica is limited. However, there are voluntary opportunities at UWI that you could actually just approach a lab that you're interested in and just volunteer. As well as few other science entities exist. There is my company, which we always welcome volunteers for the experience. We have Benjamin PA, we have SRC, that's always willing, Scientific Research Council. We have Max Pharmaceuticals. We just find a science-based business, approach them, tell them you want to learn, you want to volunteer your time, and they are always welcoming. I know that for a fact. So they always welcoming to university students, and the potential lies that you may get a job at the end of your internship.
And chemistry does have a work-study program in the applied chem division. We do place students in industry to do a research, to do a project, and they are paid. It's an internship. And we also have, Victoria and others, the research project, which is a course which allows undergraduate students to work in a research lab of one of the lecturers in the department. And that gives you some research experience and some experience working in the lab. So we do have some of those programs, Chanel. But what is really lacking to Dr. Dela Mackenzie is the infrastructure to do science and the kind of science that's gonna take us to the moon. You know, that kind of science needs we need an injection of research infrastructure, of well-equipped labs. There's so much we can do.
I agree.
And that's a major part of the problem that limits our ability to do it, to create new knowledge, and to use that knowledge to support business. So let me see, it is 12 o'clock. Our time is really up, but if there is one more burning question or comment, we can take it. Who would like the last word before my word? No? Okay, well, I think
we have one question.
Go ahead.
This is Richard Taylor.
Dr. Taylor.
Just a follow-up on your comment, Maradine, with respect to supporting the infrastructure. Dr. Dela Mackenzie would have mentioned the SDI policy, and I'm wondering to what extent does the policy address the funding infrastructure that is required to establish the kind of nexuses and the partnerships and the opportunity for investing in the sciences to sort of do the kinds of research that are necessary to sort of drive innovation and development.
So Dr. Taylor, that's one of the major parts of the science policy. It's one of our priority areas to work on the funding in a similar manner of how the Universal Service Fund, they create their own funding by implementing taxes. We are yet to come up with that funding for R&D. We have one ongoing funding agency right now, which is the National Foundation for Science and Technology, which is funded by private sector. And the chairman of that agency is actually, what's his name again? He is the founder of Best Dressed Chicken. I can't remember his name right now, but it is a funding agency that is supported by private sector. It has Best Dressed Chicken, the National Commercial Bank, and a lot of other entities. However, that has its limits to it. So we are working to come up with a framework to make this funding possible, to increase the scholarship, as the student asked earlier. But we are yet to be there. As I told you before, I am in this space for less than a year. Previous to me being here, there was a limited amount of activity other than SRC, NCST, and ICENT. So we are working to get the funding up to create a way to make this funding possible, but we are not quite there yet, but it is a priority area. And it is also in the JLP manifesto. So it is one of the areas that we're really working on. So thank you for that question.
Thank you so much, Dr. Dela Mackenzie. Thank you, Dr. Taylor. Dr. Taylor is talking with us from the St. Augustine campus of the UWI. I see a message coming in from Tracy. Tracy is with the Natural History Museum of Jamaica. And Tracy, I see you asking about the recordings because you were late. We will make these recordings available so you can watch the presentation, a very important presentation for all of us to see. And so, ladies and gentlemen, we have come
Tracy.
Go ahead.
And Tracy is one of the persons that have been helping us to work on the SDNI plan. So she really missed it.
Yeah, we will send it to her. Tracy Comack and I work on the board of the Natural History Museum. So we'll be in touch on that, Tracy. All right, so thanks again, everyone, for participating in such a robust discussion. Thank you once again, Dr. Dela Mackenzie. We can't say how much we are proud of you. And as everybody has said, we are happy you are in this seat. And we will be seeing more of you. We expect you to be here with us 11 o'clock every Thursday. Please block it out. Please block it out on your calendar so that this relationship can Moonshot. You know what I mean? We are going places. Right. Best person to be in that seat,
Yes,
Dr.
ma'am.
Sylvia Mitchell is saying here. So I hope you are feeling, you know, just how proud we are of you and how we anticipate utilizing this opportunity to work with all of us. Like I said, scientists and science policy people working together. All right. I have to. So join me again, everybody, in giving Dr. Dela Mackenzie a round of applause, thanking her for being here, but also as a woman in science. You know, next week we are celebrating women and girls in science, and we salute you as one of those women.
And that's my birthday.
Wonderful, wonderful. So I'm reminding
That's
you
my
again.
birthday.
Reminding you, my audience, to send her something for her birthday and reminding you that we've got to be nice to her. Reminding you also that on February 9th, that's Tuesday at 7 a.m., all of the women and girls who are here, Victoria and all of the undergraduates, as well as the more mature female scientists, join us. This event is for all of us as women in science. It's an event taking place all over the world. People are organizing this, and Doctors Inka Brown and Petria Facey have organized this one for us here in Jamaica, connecting Caribbean women in Jamaica and all over the Caribbean. Professor Roy will be there, Dr. Alison Gajada, Samantha Josephs, and I said before, Janice Badenoch. We want you to register, so please check out the flyer. Can somebody post it here? Dr. Brown, are you here? Could you post it here in the chat? Tracy, all of you who are not with us here on campus, wherever you are, please join us, send it out in your networks, and have women and girls join us. And come back here next week, Thursday, when we are celebrating again with another great woman in science, Dr. Jacqueline Bisesa Mackenzie. I know you don't want to miss that one, because we are going to be talking about COVID-19 and other matters that you might be interested in. Thanks again, everybody. All the best. Please do keep safe, and see you next week.
Thank you, and same to you.
Thank you. Bye. Channel will talk.
We will.